What's good, guys? It's your boy Black Mask. I am back with the best defensive builds for 2025 for Shinobi Striker, man. And we're going to be going crazy. We got some interesting builds for you guys in today's video. Some of these are meta, some of these are actually mostly just for fun builds that I think are pretty good, you know what I'm saying? But before we get into all that, man, I'm going to need you guys to do something for me. I'm going to need you guys to subscribe, hit that like button, all that good stuff. Let's get this video up to 50 likes, man. That's the goal for today's video. And with all that being said, let's get into the builds. Alright guys, here's build number 1 for today's video, man. This is a very interesting build in itself, pretty unique in a way, because this build mostly prioritizes you using the ninja tool combined with the frost hawk, as well as the jutsus to like pretty much get your damage off. But yeah, this is a very solid build, so let's get into it. Alright, so for the weapon, man, we're gonna be using the frost hawk for this one, man. As I said in the intro for the build itself, this is a pretty solid weapon in itself. I like it pretty much, but you can use any weapon that you want to use for this build. I just like using the Frosthawk in general whenever I'm using a build like this. Alright, so for our ninja tool, we're going to be using the lightning fan for the super armor, and you get to spam it 3 times. Now for the outfit, man, we're going to be using the glimmering surge armor. Top skill is going to be lightning engineer, bottom skill is going to be cyber brain protector, and for our accessory, we got fleeting light for this one, man. Alright, so for the first ninjutsu, man, we got ripple just for that extra pull damage we get from pulling our enemies, and we get heals on contact as well. So yeah, this is a pretty solid jutsu for our first ninjutsu, man. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so for the second ninjutsu, we're gonna be using karma. If you know what this is that choke jutsu that allows you to choke your enemies, and you can throw them away from you, and you basically hit the second input, you could like dive kick them. So yeah, this is a pretty good jutsu too. Alright, so for our substitution, man, we got emergency exit, of course, for the heals, you know what I'm saying. As for our secret technique, man, we're going to be using Rasengan Unison for this one, man. But this concludes the builds. So we're going to be taking this build into the pits and show you how this build works. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so here's our second build of today's video, man. This is basically our fire style build. We're gonna be using fire style to buff ourselves and our damage overall. But anyways, let's get into the actual build itself real quick. Alright, so for the weapon, we got invented destruction for this one, man. Alright, so for the ninja tool, man, we got the glimmering flame for the extra burns, and it slows your opponent down and lowers their defense. Of course, for the actual costume, we're going to be using the pinky swear. So you already know the skills are basically the same for the pinky swear outfit in general. So you guys don't need me to explain the actual skills on this one. Alright, so for our first ninjutsu, man, we're going to be using Sharingan Genjutsu for this one. Second ninjutsu is going to be Uchiha Flame Formation, just to knock our opponents off of us, and we get that fire style buff because this is a fire style jutsu. Our substitution gotta be emergency exit just for the healing whenever we sub. Now for the ultimate, man, we gotta be going with the fire style bomb blast dance because this is a fire style build, you feel me? But anyways, let's get into some demonstrations. Of course, we're gonna be taking this into the pit to go crazy on our opponents with. So let's get into the actual demonstration real quick. Alright, so here's our third build of today's video, man. This is a very interesting build in itself, because this is focusing on basically keeping ourselves from taking the most or least amount of damage possible, while being somewhat aggressive with this build. So yeah, let's get into the build in itself. Alright, so for the weapon we're going to be using is the Yagura's Club for this one, but you can use any weapon that you want to use. I simply like the Yagura's Club. Is one of my favorite weapons on defense at the moment. Alright, so for the ninja tool, man, we're using the Sunlit Medicine just to make us invulnerable for a couple of seconds and boost our chakra jump if we need to. So yeah, this is a pretty good ninja tool for the build overall, man, as you're going to see. Alright, so for the skills, man, it's not important since we're using the government gown for this one. But if you guys want to know the skills, man, the top skill is Quaking Heavens, bottom skill is going to be Earthshaker, and for accessory, we got the Unsurpassed. But you can use any skill or outfit that you want to use because this build does not matter. I mean, it does not matter for this build in general, so yeah. For the first ninjutsu, man, we got Conway Climax. This makes us impervious to damage and ultimates. Second ninjutsu is going to be 8 Chargrand's palm rotation. This allows us to deflect any damage coming towards us, and it will allow us to seal our opponent's ninjutsu. Now for the sub, we're going to be using Ninetales Raiment for this one, just for that extra super armor. Now for a secret technique, man, we're going to be using the Hidden Ninjutsu Daikokuten for this one, man. And that concludes the build in itself. So let's get into the action demonstration of showing you how this build works in the pit against our opponents. So let's get it. So here's our fourth and final build of today's video, man, and we're going to be using this build basically to trap our opponents and basically allow them to not be able to escape from our onslaught. But yeah, this build is centered around the Shukaku spear that's been recently buffed, so let's get into the actual build itself. Alright, so for the weapon, man, we're going to be using the Shukaku spear, as I said before. This weapon has been buffed recently, so yeah, this weapon is now way better than it once was when it was first launched. So for the ninja tool we're going to be using is the Frozen Fang for this one, man. This allows us to stop our opponents immediately whenever they're hit by the Frozen Fangs, freezing them, and their substitution is basically gone once they're hit by this. So here's the skills we're going to be using is First Blood, and for our top skill, bottom skill is going to be Out of Thin Air, and for accessory, we unfortunately have none for this one. But you can use any accessory that you want to use for this one. It probably will make it 10 times better. But yeah, that concludes the actual skills of this build, man. So for the first ninjutsu, man, we're gonna use is gonna be the Sand Coffin for this one, man, to restrain our enemies, and we can do a second input that allows us to put damage on our opponents too. For our second ninjutsu, man, once again we're gonna be using is the Genjutsu Sharingan, just to restrain our opponents even more and put them to sleep. You feel me? So let's get into that substitution real quick. For the substitution, man, we're using the Ninetales Raiment just for that super armor, as I said before. For the secret technique, man, we got Sage Mode just to give us our health back and boost our damage in close range affairs, you feel me? But anyways, let's get into the actual demonstration and show you how this build gets down. Of course, we're going to be in the pit once again, but let's get into that real quick. Alright, man, I appreciate everyone who made it this far into the video. I have finally wrapped up the series with the best build series of 2025, man. Let me know what you guys want to see next from me, man. If you want to see any weapon guides or anything like that, put that down in the comment section, and let me know what build was your favorite out of the 4 builds, man. And let me know that down in the comment section as well. The first person to do so, I'll pin their comment at the top of the comment section as always. As well, man, we're definitely going to be pushing out more Shinobi Striker content, even though we finished this series up. I plan on doing another video next week on this attack build that I got going for you guys. Subscribe and get me. I think you guys are gonna love it. But with all that being said, man, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's been your boy Mask, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, God bless, and peace out.